My 4-year-old granddaughter, who was carrying water from the park in a bucket, exclaimed,
"I'll give it to Mom."
She staggered under the weight, and when I tried to ask what was going on, she brushed my hand away.
"No. Hurry, take it to Mom. She's suffering."
With lips tightly pressed, she pleaded earnestly. When I rushed to my son's house, I found my daughter-in-law dehydrated inside a home with no electricity or running water. She didn't respond to my calls. "What's happening?" And at the hospital, I learned the astonishing truth. I'm Nancy. I've been living with my somewhat traditional, slightly domineering husband. After turning 60, I started assisting with an after-school program for elementary school kids. I've always loved children, and my husband allowed me to pursue what I enjoyed. The person I worked with at the after-school program was my daughter-in-law, Mia. She grew up in a single-parent household and lost her father, leaving her all alone. But she was incredibly beautiful, and somehow, we clicked. When I invited her over as a much younger friend, my son Michael fell head over heels for her, and their relationship quickly led to marriage. Mia was thrilled to become part of our real family. My son and daughter-in-law bought a house about 15 minutes away from ours.
Nancy, there's a lovely French restaurant that just opened in town. Would you like to go together sometime?
Certainly. Let's go. Mia often invited me out for lunch on our days off, and despite the stereotype of a strained mother-in-law relationship, we could talk about anything, just like real mother and daughter. However, unfortunately, there was a sort of barrier between my biological son and me. My late mother-in-law adored Michael and rarely entrusted me with parenting duties back then. Watching her cold attitude toward me, he sensed a hint of mockery directed at me. Michael, who grew up without knowing restraint, fell in with a bad crowd during middle school. He engaged in behaviors like extortion and shoplifting, causing us considerable trouble. My husband and I were summoned to school and the police station, repeatedly apologizing for his actions. But that's all in the past. As a college student skilled in computers, he even started a successful company. Since getting married, our son has worked hard for the family. His efforts, especially since becoming a parent, have been remarkable. Having someone to protect changes a person. I sighed with relief. Our first grandchild, Sophia, was so endearing that she brought immense joy during her frequent visits. However, about 6 months ago, after my granddaughter turned 4, our interactions abruptly ceased. Mia, my daughter-in-law, stopped coming over, and I grew increasingly worried about her. "You rarely visit us lately, but what's going on?" "I miss you."
I apologize. Sophia's kindergarten has many events. I'll visit your place soon.
"All right, I'll be waiting," I assured her. But despite her words, Mia never came. Feeling desperate, I decided to visit my son's house. When I called Mia, she said,
I have plans today. It's rude to show up unannounced.
"I'm sorry. I just want to see Sophia. Can you let me see her, even just once?" I brought a little gift.
Leave the gift at the doorstep and go home.
She rejected me through the intercom, refusing to show her face. Despite our close relationship, I couldn't fathom the reason behind this sudden distance. Reluctantly, I left the gift for my granddaughter by the front door. When I asked my son, he said harshly,
"Mom, You've been bothering Mia. Stay away from her.
Tears welled up. What had I done? My husband comforted me, placing his hand on my shoulder.
Let's observe quietly for a while.
But I still couldn't make sense of it all. About a month later, one day, while I was on my way to go shopping, I saw my granddaughter at the park. I decided to park my car in the park's parking lot and approach her. "Ha? What's going on?" There was Sophia, carrying water from the park's faucet in a bucket. Despite it being summer, she wore winter pants and was soaked from the water bucket. Her legs wobbled, and her complexion was pale. "Are you Sophia? What are you doing?"
Oh, Grandma? I'm giving water to Mom.
According to her, the water at home had stopped flowing. With vacant eyes, Sophia was determinedly carrying the bucket of water. Understood. Grandma will help Mom. Sophia exclaimed.
Really? Hurry, help Mom.
Together with my granddaughter, I rushed to my son's house. The front door was unlocked, and as she had said, there was no electricity or running water. "Mia! Where are you?" Sophia led me to a storage area under the stairs. There, my daughter-in-law lay sunken-eyed and dehydrated, her hands and feet bound, blood staining her mouth. "Mia! Stay with me." No matter how many times I called, my daughter-in-law didn't respond. I immediately called an ambulance. Desperate to inform my son, I tried calling him, but there was no answer. "Sophia, where's Dad?"
Dad went somewhere. I should have given Mom water sooner. I'm sorry.
Tears welled up in her eyes, and she couldn't share more details. When I contacted my husband, he was shocked but promised to come right away. Despite multiple calls, my son's phone remained unanswered. Finally, I reached his workplace, only to learn he was on a 2-week family vacation overseas. "What's going on?" He wouldn't return for another week, leaving me bewildered. The ambulance arrived, rushing my daughter-in-law to the hospital. Concerned about Sophia's pale complexion, we decided she should be examined too. And a few hours later, my husband and I were guided by a nurse to receive an explanation from the attending physician.
Please don't be shocked. The truth is,
The doctor revealed a startling fact about my daughter-in-law's condition. Could it be something like that? I questioned, doubting my own ears. Fortunately, our granddaughter Sophia, though malnourished, wasn't in immediate danger. However, my daughter-in-law remained critical. While my husband attended to Sophia, I diligently cared for her. "Mia, I'm here with you. Stay strong. You have Sophia, don't you?" I held her unconscious hand, continuing to reassure her. The next day, we finally managed to reach my son. My husband was with me, so I put the call on speakerphone and explained the situation to Michael. He seemed surprised, but also somewhat disgruntled.
Wait, you called an ambulance? Why go to all that trouble?
What? How can you say that? Aren't you worried about Mia's condition?
I just thought it didn't need to be such a big deal. After all, both of them are alive.
Michael mumbled something, and I couldn't quite catch the end. Mia is still unconscious. The doctor said if she doesn't wake up soon, they can't guarantee her survival. I informed him.
I see. She's still unconscious.
Why are you so fixated on that? And where are you, anyway? Despite the life-threatening situation, my son avoided discussing it, which infuriated me. When I asked your workplace, they said you were on a family vacation overseas. Who exactly is your family? His response was defensive.
Huh? You called my workplace? This is ridiculous.
Michael sighed in exasperation.
Listen, Mom, you were probably fooled by Mia. She's a strong-willed woman who avoids household chores and parenting, just playing around. She's the worst wife.
Could it be?
Mom and Dad are being deceived. She's a terrible wife. That's why I went on a solo trip abroad.
His words rushed out, and I felt a sense of unease. But Mia was tied up in the storage room. Something's not right. I insisted.
That's probably because a thief broke in, and they both got caught. Since I was away, someone must have broken into the house.
His excuses left me feeling unsettled. At that moment, my husband, who had been listening beside me, raised his voice sternly.
Your wife's life is in danger. Stop dilly-dallying and come back immediately.
Perhaps startled by his tone, my son abruptly hung up, and we couldn't reach him afterward. 5 days later, Michael finally contacted us from the airport. His return was significantly delayed, leaving me exasperated. A few hours later, he entered the hospital room. Seeing Mia lying on the bed with her eyes closed, he gasped in surprise.
Is Mia okay?
Unfortunately, no, I replied.
Poor thing.
Michael lowered his head, shoulders trembling. He seemed on the verge of tears, yet there was a hint of relief in his expression. When I showed him a photo of Mia from when I first found her, his complexion changed. The image depicted her bound and bloodied, her mouth injured from biting through Sophia's restraints. Despite her own condition, she had desperately tried to save her daughter. Both of them were tied up. But Mia managed to help Sophia.
What do you mean?
I recounted how Mia had used her teeth to free Sophia from the restraints, despite her own dire situation.
Unbelievable.
Michael muttered. His detached tone suggested he wanted to maintain the illusion that only a thief had harmed Mia and Sophia. But I couldn't hold back. Did you do this? His response was defensive.
Huh? Why are you suddenly accusing me without evidence? Am I still your son?
His face turned crimson, and he berated me angrily. As it turns out, according to the doctor, Mia had bruises all over her body, suggesting she might have suffered for months. Moreover, her malnourished state indicated she hadn't been eating properly. The only person who could have subjected her to such cruelty is her husband, Michael. When I confronted him, he denied any involvement.
I don't know. It wasn't me. Besides, since Mia's life is at stake, we can't know the truth.
I pressed on. Are you trying to evade responsibility? There's a witness. He scoffed.
Huh? Did Sophia say something? Kids have wild imaginations and tell lies. I can't believe it.
As I was speechless because my son pretended to know nothing, I heard a loud cry from the bed. Mia declared,
I'll testify.
Michael stammered.
Huh? Wait, Mia? Are you alive?
Mia sat up, glaring at Michael. Astonished, he stumbled back, his voice a mix of shock and confusion. Mia had actually survived, playing dead to draw out Michael's true feelings. She revealed that they had been arguing frequently, and Michael had even raised his hand against her. The reason she stopped visiting about 6 months ago was fear that I'd noticed the bruises on her face. Mia, kind-hearted, endured it all to spare me disappointment. If only she had confided sooner, things might not have escalated so tragically. Michael's inadequacy went beyond what I could have imagined. He was having an affair with a young female coworker at his company. When Mia discovered it and confronted him, Michael lost his temper. He tied up Mia to make her reflect, then went on a cheating trip. But his cruelty didn't stop there. He sabotaged their home by cutting off the power and shutting off the water supply. To make matters worse, he confiscated her phone and bound Sophia, their daughter, with ropes as well. Desperate to save her child's life, Mia bravely fought to protect Sophia. Meanwhile, Sophia, unaware of the danger, tried to help her mom by fetching water from the park. Mia declared,
There's evidence beyond my testimony.
My daughter-in-law and I exchanged knowing glances and nodded in agreement. I then showed Michael a damning video I had received from her, a recording of him physically assaulting Mia. Ironically, Mia had used a baby monitor camera from Sophia's infancy to capture the evidence.
I'm sorry. The affair was just a fling. I'll break it off and cherish Mia from now on.
Unbelievable. No way. I'm reporting this to the police.
Come on. Hey, Mom, ask Mia too. It'd be a problem if your only son got arrested, right?
Realizing he couldn't escape, Michael turned to me for help. However, I doubted his sincerity in changing his ways. You've done irreparable harm to Mia and Sophia. Be honest with the police and face the consequences.
Huh? Are you really my mom? You won't help me?
Frustrated by Michael's anger directed at me, I was left speechless. Thankfully, my husband made the call, and Michael was taken away, wailing, by the police. Afterward, my son and Mia divorced. Michael was found guilty of mistreating his wife and daughter, and he ended up behind bars. Mia sought $20,000 in damages, $100,000 in child support, and a division of shared assets from my son. She also demanded $12,000 in damages from Michael's affair partner, a woman who worked under him at the company. Michael relinquished all properties he owned in his name, including the house and land, to his wife. He used the proceeds from selling the company to pay child support. Stripped of both money and reputation, he'll face challenges even after leaving prison. My husband and I severed ties with Michael. We legally adopted Mia and Sophia as our own children, intending to leave them our entire estate. Recently, seeing Mia and Sophia's smiles has been a source of comfort. We hope to continue living positively and harmoniously as a family.
How did you find this story? If you enjoyed it, consider subscribing to our channel. See you in the next video.